Janie Pendleton, and today we're going to make my famous hot dog and hamburger relish. And Lexi here is going to help, aren't you, Lexi? You going to help? You going to be my taste tester? Ooh, you love that. You love hot dogs. She loves hamburgers and hot dogs. Come on, let's get started. Come on, come on, come with me, come with me, come with me. This on a gentle rain. Put our colander. This little colander right here is so neat that fits over the sink here. I just picked this up at Walmart for a few pennies on the dollar. And you just want to take and you want to wash this with a nice antibacterial soap. I've already done that. Get all the little spines and things off of here. And then you want to rinse it really, really, really well. Now you only want to use fresh fruit, and I wouldn't let your cuke sit for any longer than 48 hours. Some people say 24 hours. You just want to wash them really, really good, just like this. That will keep them nice and crisp. But if you can't get to these, you can do what I did. I just put in a sink of cold water, not too cold, but fairly cold, and I just let them float down into the water until I could get to them. Now, these right here make for great pickle sizes right here, and you could make whole or chopped up pickles with these, but isn't that a perfect size for a whole pickle? Now, when we're done washing these, we're just going to take these over to the chopping board here, and we want to cut off both ends. The reason why you don't want to pickle the blossom end especially is there's a chemical in the blossom end of your pickle, and you want to take off at least a 1/16 of an inch to an 1/8 of an inch off your blossom end of your pickle. That's this end right here. Okay? You just want to get rid of the end of that pickle. And then on this end, the end where it was connected to the plant, you can some people do leave that on. I do not. I still go ahead and take that off as well. Okay? And then we're just going to take and we're just going to chunk these up, and then we're going to put this through the food processor. We have about 4 quarts of boiling water. It's not salted anything, and we've just got the heat on high, and we're just going to bring this up to temperature. What we do here is we're going to pour this boiling water over the top of our chopped pickles. Okay, we've just chopped, we've added to our machine. Now, this is one of the questions that I've had in the past, and that is, do you deseed your cucumber? See the size of those seeds? If you wait until your cucumber is any larger than this, then you might want to consider deseeding your cucumber. But if you pick them, at medium-sized pickle stage right there, medium to large-sized pickle stage, then you're fine. You don't need to deseed it. It's going to get ground up and chopped up in here anyway. But if you're a stickler for things and you really want to deseed it, then go ahead. But these seeds right here, they're going to get chopped up. It's going to be fine. And you eat the seeds when you make, refrigerator pickles and when you eat pickles. So go ahead, eat the seeds. It's fine. I'm going to hit chop. Okay, so I found if you chop just a handful at a time in your food processor, you can get that larger chopped size that you like. And you can see here, where I got a little bit largely chopped here, where it got way too fine right here. Now that's still usable, and we'll mix that in, but we definitely want to keep the larger chopped. So it's just going to take me a little longer, and when I get done, I'll be right back. Okay, we found some more cukes in the garden, so we added 2 more. And as long as you've got about 9-10 cups in here, that's fine. Your ratios don't matter as much, just make sure you got enough canning jars. So to this we're going to add 1 whole chopped red onion. You can use any onion, that's fine. Just make sure it's about palm size. And we're also going to add 3 red bell peppers. You can add 2 red bell peppers, that's fine. I like the extra bell peppers in mine. And also, you want to be sure, you can use green peppers or orange peppers. Anything works, but if you use the green pepper, you can't exactly see it in here. And I like to be able to see it. So you can use the orange or the yellow if you like to. We're going to start chopping our peppers and our onions. And we're just going to chop up a red onion. It should be about the size of the palm of your hand. Okay. And we're going to cut the ends off that, and we're going to chop that, just going to chop it up, and then we're going to add that to our food processor as well. And here's that really nice red bell pepper. Isn't that nice? And that's going to blend in there really well. Just going to give this a nice stir. And you don't want to drain this. Keep the fluids on it. We're not going to add any water. We're not going to sit this in boiling water overnight like we do the regular pickles. If you're just doing sweet pickles with a recipe similar to this, which is on my YouTube channel, I guess it's over that way. You can find my sweet pickle recipe here on YouTube. And what you want to do here is just keep stirring this up. And I want to show you the color on this. Let me get it mixed up here a little bit more. Isn't that awesome? So colorful. Look at that. Can you see that? Let's put that up against the red, or up against the white sink. Look at that. That is just beautiful. It's nice and chunky, and that's the way you want it. And we're going to take our clean spoon, and we're just going to cover the top of this with ice. Once you get this covered in the ice, just a nice thin layer here, as you can see, of ice, we're going to cover this up with a tea towel, keep the flies and stuff off, keep the cool in, and we're going to let this rest on the counter in your kitchen for 18 to 24 hours. You don't have to even go that long if you don't want to. Sometimes I only go about 15 hours. Depends what time of the day that lands on. So probably around noon tomorrow, because this is in the evening, I'll go ahead and finish this up. All right, we'll see you back here in the morning. A tight wired strainer, and here we have a couple of layers of cheesecloth. We're just going to double this over. I would sit this in here like this. You want to let this sit for 18 to 24 hours. It's been about 20, and we're just going to go ahead and drain this to that colander. We're going to take and we're going to cover this with the cheesecloth, just like this, and we're just going to let that soak for 30 minutes. Okay, now meanwhile, we're going to prepare the brine, and we're going to need a few drops of green food coloring. You can omit this. You don't have to use this. That's fine. I like to have the Chicago dog style, so I always add a drop or two. Just 1 or 2 drops goes a long way, because you still want to see that coloring of the red peppers. You still want to see the onions and stuff in it. You can go darker, and that's more Chicago style. You can go without, that's more American style. Okay, you're going to need 2 cups of this apple cider vinegar. One. There's 2. I need 4 cups of this white distilled vinegar. I've got 1 in. We're on 2, 3, and 4. There we go. That's 6 cups of vinegar total, and you can change the combination to that however you like it. This is the combination that I like. 2 cups cider vinegar, 4 cups white distilled vinegar. Now we're just going to turn on our heat here, and we're going to bring this up to a slow simmer. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start adding our spices. I'm going to start with my cardamom seed, and I'm going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom seed. See that? That's cardamom seed. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of that. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. You can adjust that a little bit too. It's got salt in it, so that's okay. I like to do a little bit more of the celery salt because that's what I like. So I went with more of a heaping 1/2 teaspoon. A 1/2 teaspoon of ground mustard powder, or you can put in a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed. Go this way. Okay, so that's a 1/2 teaspoon of ground mustard, and I actually like this, so I'm going to put in another 1/2 teaspoon. That's a teaspoon altogether for me. So again, I put in about a teaspoon of the ground mustard. It calls for a 1/2 teaspoon, but again, I like that. I like my pickles. I like them spicy. Okay, we're going to put in a teaspoon of ground cloves. We're going to put in 1/8 teaspoon. So we're going to put in 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Not much, just a little. And here we have ground turmeric root, and we're going to put in a heaping 1/2 teaspoon of that. going to be so good. I'm so excited. Okay. And finally to this, we're going to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon to a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Oops, wrong one here. I like this flavor of cinnamon in mine, so yummy, yum, yum. Okay, and it depends if you want spice or not, but I always add a few dashes of hot red pepper, and I heat mine up a bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that now. So last of that. Let's go ahead and give this a stir first here. There we go. Now this is our brine for our hamburger relish. A few drops, and then we're going to add the sugar. Want very little. I'm afraid I might even tip it in there. There, just very little. 1 drop. That's all it's going to take. Look at that. That's all it's going to take to green that up just a little bit. Maybe a little more. There we go. It was in the lid. Okay, now my finger's green, but that's okay. See, now we got a nice green coloring in there. And like I said, you can add more green if you like. And it's not going to look muddy like this by the time it settles either. All right, come on in. Ooh, we have company. Now to this, we're going to add 4 cups of sugar. Again, that's just 4 cups of sugar. And let's go ahead and dump that all in there. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to give this a stir, and we're going to bring this up to a boil, and we're going to get a nice boil in this, and we're going to do this for about 5 minutes. We're going to do this until that sugar is nice and dissolved. We'll see you back here then. Okay, our water bath canner is bubbling away here, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to shut the heat off for a minute. Shut it off or turn it on really low. We don't want this boiling like this when we put the jars in. Then here we've got our jars all steamed. They've been washed and sterilized in the dishwasher. And what I do is I turn my jars upside down and force that steam up inside the jars. And that really works for me. Oh, that is hot. Woo! It's hot. Okay, now we're just going to carry these over to here. And what we have here is we put a little bit of pickling crisp. Oh, about a teaspoon of pickling crisp in here. And we're just going to kind of blend that in just a little bit. This is all nice and drained. It's been about 30 minutes. We've got this to drain. Good, it's nice and dry. That's perfect. Blending in that pickling crisp. This over, and we're going to put this inside of our pan of brine. Okay, it kind of came out in one big ball here. I'm just going to kind of put it in the brine, just like that. Stir this into the brine. And we're going to finish bringing this up to a boil. Okay, we're just going to add a half a teaspoon of garam masala. We're going to add that last. And I like it, maybe even closer to 3/4 of a teaspoon. That's good. We're just going to bring this up to a boil. And we're going to boil this for 1 minute. And then we're going to fill up our jars. Remember to use hot jars, hot liquids, hot glass, and then hot glass into the hot canner. Very important you do it this way or you'll break a jar. And you never want to remove a hot jar and take it out onto a cold counter like a tile top. You could break your tile, and or you could also break your jar and have it everywhere. Just a couple of little canning tips there. Isn't that pretty? I didn't put in too much green food coloring. I was able to tint the pickles a little bit, but you can still see the red peppers and the onions, and I think that's important. Okay, we've got our sterilized jars. We have sterilized our equipment. We're all ready to go. We've got our lids at about 180 to 200 degrees here, sitting and waiting. We want those to sit for about 10 minutes. We've got our jar lifter ready to go. The canner's boiling. You can probably hear it in the background. We're ready to go on that as well. And this has been boiling, so we're going to go ahead and spoon this into our jars. We're going to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. A little bit more. Drop this over here into our 1/2 pints. These will make for some nice gifts. Send these off to my kids at college. That'd be great. Okay. I'll do this fairly quickly. If you get too much in there, just drop it to the next one. Okay. I'm going to make this quick and show you how to do this. Just want to take a nice clean napkin or cloth, and we're just going to wipe off those lids really well. Oh, wait a minute, we got to get the air bubbles out first. I'll sterilize this. We're going to get the air bubbles out first. Dip that into the hot water here, the nice sterile water. Get our lids nice and clean. We want a really good seal on this. Then we're going to dip our finger in and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to run that finger around the ring like I always do. I'm going to take our magnetic tool here. We're just going to drop that on like this, making sure that ring is centered. And we're going to hand tighten just like that. I'll do one more here and show you. Get that on there just like that. Oops. You know what? I didn't send a large lid for that. Okay, I forgot to do the large lids. We'll stick that down in there. We'll go ahead and do a small one. I'm going to do this one more time. Bring this up between a 1/4 inch headspace. I usually do a 1/2 inch. A little more here. Trying to get a little bit of that juice in there with it. And again, if you get too much, just take it right out. Okay. Should be about to that rim on the 1/2 pints. I'm just going to take cloth, dip it in a hot sterile water, dip our finger in next. Grab our lid. Make sure that lid's centered. And give it a little twist. You just want that finger tight. Now we're going to carry these over and put these in our water bath canner. Okay, when you get a nice rolling boil going, that's when you want to start your time. And we're going to put them on for 10 minutes. And we'll see you back then. Okay, our 10 minutes is up. Don't get any kind of steam burn here doing this. Remember, you want to do the tilt like I taught you before. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Gorgeous. And we're going to bring it over here. And we're going to sit this out of a draft, especially if your air conditioner is running in the summer. Make sure you sit that out of the draft. Tilt. And there you go. We're going to finish removing these from the canner. This is Chef. Oh, you hear that? You hear the pop?